You are listening to Any Given Sunday Australia. Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in 3 households now. We've hit 3. That's a pretty big deal. Joining me, as always, is our work experience kid, turned professional. It says it in his Twitter bio, and I believe we have an update on the actual Twitter handle, Danny Webb. Is it Danny Webb AGS? Is that where we find it?
Yeah, on Twitter, at Danny Webb AGS.
Oh, it's gone pure official now. How good's that?
Oh, I had to after some of the big interviews we've been having. Got to make it official from now on.
Love it. And we've got our fly-in, fly-out worker who decides to join us wherever he feels like it. TC24, how are you, mate?
It's my world. You're all just living in it, baby.
We've shipped you off to the 3rd. You're now introduced last. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, maybe we finished with the best, or have you been shipped to the back?
The last kind of guy, so that works for me.
Yeah, all right. We'll let you run with that. How are you both, boys? We missed Tuesday after it is Christmas season and times are busy and work-related things. So a big session today.
Yeah, life's getting very busy, as I'm sure everyone listening will agree. So we had to skip Tuesday, but we're going to cover that off today. So nothing lost for the fam.
I was glad that we managed to skip Tuesday though, because did COVID have me? Well and truly had me under its spell.
You have been officially COVIDized since then. So how are you feeling, Danny? Feeling better? Feeling all right?
On the mend. This one rocks me a little bit harder than the first time though. So it's been a slower recovery. It was a slower build up and then rocks for a couple of days and then a slower recovery. So hopefully on the mend. But yeah, it's been a long time.
You look great. So
thanks.
I'm just going to say that.
Leave my puffy eyes alone.
You look like you've been on night shift like me and Carl.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get into it because we do have to push on today. I agree again. Have not got an intro for T-Mac's injury report, but we do have a couple of big injuries that I want to talk about. First one, the 49ers wide receiver / running back Deebo Samuel. He suffered a sprained MCL and the old high ankle sprain. I didn't actually see the video, but apparently it doesn't look great, but he is expected to return during this season, which is huge. Cardi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's surprising after seeing the footage of him getting hurt, that he's going to play again this year. It looks terrible. So to get away with just a sprained MCL and the old high ankle sprain, whatever that means. I think they say that when it's a bit more of a serious one, but to get away with that and still be looking like he's going to return this season, huge for the 49ers, obviously still massively in contention. Defensive side of the ball, they're still rock solid. They keep getting these injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but yeah, they can get Deebo back. That goes a long way for them come the pointy end of the year.
It definitely it's making it harder, I imagine. They are able to keep, I think it's 13 points a game or something their average against. They're the number one defense, but it's getting to a point where they're not going to be able to score 13 points a game. So
yeah, well, you keep saying they're the next man up kind of system, and when you're running out and starting to get down to the last man up, it's going to start getting hard to put points on. But yeah, they'll be looking forward to his return, no doubt.
They're literally at the last person in the draft now. They're getting to the thin end. Of
yeah, that's right, Mr. Irrelevant.
Thin end of the is it the stick or the bundle or whatever it is?
Yeah.
But. And the other big injury news is the Cards, or the other Birds, as Maxie hates me saying, their quarterback, Kyler Murray, he's gone down and it's been officially announced as an ACL. So he'll be out for, a good 8 to 12 months, which is shit news for the Birds. And it didn't happen on a turf field, Danny. This is a grass injury.
Yeah, so obviously that goes well for everyone who's still trying to push this slip film turf. It's another argument in their case. But yeah, going down for ACL is never good. So 8 to 12 months, but then still to get back into playing forms a little bit longer than that. Definitely not looking good.
It was just the old. We probably should speak to the knee bruzzy himself, the former knee bruzzy himself. It was just it was non-contact, just running out in the open, which is never a better. I imagine it's the worst way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say to that, like, these are the ones, they're a bit more scary. I reckon this one, it's like one of those innocuous ones. He was just going to make a cut. Like, he was on a run, and he went to make a cut, and you just see the knee collapse under him, no contact or anything like that. The ones where there's a reason, like, say you got bumped, or, like for mine, I got sort of bumped in the air and landed awkwardly. Like, it's kind of a reason for it. But to see Kyler's there, no apparent reason, just the knee just gives way. Yeah, they're a bit more scary and like a little bit more concerning, I think, going forward. But long road.
How do you think his confidence will be coming back from that? Like you said, if it happens during a tackle or something like, you're like, well, it happened because of that, where I was just running and my leg just gave up on me. Like, is that rocky confidence?
Yeah, like mentally for him, his running game is a big part of his game. And how much confidence is he going to have, in that part of his game going forward? It's going to take a lot of work, and like, it's weird. Like, speaking to a few people that have done knees and things, it's like until you do that first thing or do that new thing for the first time, it's like you don't have confidence in it. So it's just going to be a wait and see kind of thing for him. Yeah.
And Dr. Danny, do you buy into the I know he's had a bit of a strained hammy the last few. He missed the game not long ago. Do you buy into this could have come from a few weeks of not actually putting his body under the stresses that an NFL game has?
Absolutely, because like you're saying, it being a non-contact and he was just running, obviously his knee was lacking some form of stability. Otherwise, it wouldn't go the way that it did, and you wouldn't do your ACL in the first place. So whether that's coming from the previous hamstring injury, or the fact, like you're saying, he probably wasn't putting his body under as much training because of the hamstring injury, so everything wasn't supported and tight and looking after the way that it should. There's definitely a high possibility that it's come from something like that.
Mm. Either way, it's shit, and it's no good for the Birds. Well, the only good thing for Kyler is he signed that guaranteed money, so that helps. But yeah, either way, it's crap. We do have some other signings that we're going to quickly touch on. Are you throwing your hands up in the air for you just don't care, or what do you?
That'll transition. No, I just had something you said there just gave me a great little idea. Maybe for next season we could transition it to Dr. Danny's injury report, and then we could build our intro around that. So just a thought, little something to throw in the memory bank for everyone.
I do have a big off season of making intros and things.
Yeah, you do. And Dr. Danny's injury report rolls off the tongue.
Nice. That's more work for you, Dr. Danny, and more zeros on your paycheck of other zeros.
Let's just work on our awareness of it. I think Danny was onto it straight away. But you were just like, let's go.
I was like, oh, God, here we go again.
I have a lot of things. Being the producer I have a lot of things I'm looking at and playing with, besides, Anyway, the other signings I was talking about quickly. The Cowboys have seemed to just keep the wagon rolling. They've signed wide receiver T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton. He was at the Colts earlier this year. I thought he was kind of done and dusted, but a good pickup for them, a veteran wide receiver. He can earn up to 1.5 going forward. And the Cowboys, another team that just seems to be at the top of their game and just replacing players as they need to. They've signed veteran punter Brett Kern, who's come from the Titans, another one who seemed to be done, but it is unfortunate because Aussie Aaron Sipos, who formerly for the Saints, he's gone down after a pretty athletic play. He went down, picked it up, scooped the ball up one-handed after it got blocked and nearly got to the first down, but just the way he got tackled at the end, it's, I think, another high ankle. Maybe, possibly. All I know is he's gone down, but I'm going to say high ankle sprain anyway.
Just label everything with high ankle sprain. I'm pretty sure that's what the NFL does.
Feels like they're doing. But that would be the Eagles, not the Cowboys. You had a little.
Did I not say the Eagles? Yeah, I said the Eagles.
Yeah, no, you said the Cowboys. That's okay.
Nah, buggy is both. I'm going to go back and delete that and put in the Cowboys.
You've done it again.
The Eagles.
You've done it again.
The Eagles. But anyway, poor bugger. You rocked me. All right, so we're going to start again. We'll just come back. Yes, hello. No, I had a couple of stories that I wanted to discuss with you boys and get into the minds of you lads. I only sent them to you this morning, so I don't know how much you've actually read about them. But Marcus Mariota has gone under and got a knee procedure done that he's apparently had a bit of trouble with the knee throughout the whole year. But it comes the same week, I think, a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's a bit suspicious that it's come out this week. The same
Convenient?
week, convenient that Desmond Ritter, who's the young QB they picked up last year's draft, he's been named as the starting QB, and then all of a sudden Marcus has gone, you know what, I've had a bit of a dodgy knee, I'm going to go get it looked at.
There's a few things that's a bit fishy about this whole article. So not only has he gone for his procedure, exactly what you said, as soon as Ritter got put into the starting QB role, but he also went outside their club's doctors and went to his own doctor to get the approval to get this knee procedure done. So that in itself kind of stinks a little bit. He was never placed. He was never placed on the injury report. Like, Atlanta never once put him on the injury report at all this season. And it was Atlanta's fourth loss in 5 games with him as the quarterback before this all happened, before he got dropped to second and before he decided that he went to his own doctors. And it's really strange that none of the coaches have commented on anything. They've all said that they're just wishing him the best for his knee recovery. That's all they've said. Like, they're like, we don't know about the injury. We can't comment on the injury, but we wish him the best. It's all a bit stinky.
That's huge.
Yeah, like what you said there, Danny, like that's what they refer to it as, like, going outside the building. Like, so, you know, like if all the trainers, doctors, everything in-house, like that's in the building. He's gone outside the building, which is a bit weird. And I think the head coach, I can't remember the head coach's name off the top of my head, but I did hear a quote from him saying,
Smith.
Yeah, didn't he say something like, knee's fine, nothing's changed. Like, you know, knees,
his knee was good last week. I don't know where it come from this week.
Almost kind of sunk him a little bit, and it sounds like maybe they've moved away from those comments a little bit, like just wishing him all the best. But yeah, like you said, Mac, the timing's all a bit convenient. I've been benched in favour of the Ritter.
Yeah,
and,
Desmond Ritter.
Yeah,
Desmond
let's
Ritter.
go do my knee now, sort of thing. So yeah, bit iffy, bit stinky.
Bit stinky. The other story, you might have actually, I don't know if you had a look at it, but you might have thought it was a bit strange that I put it in there. But the Dolphins are preparing for, I think it's up to 7 inches of snow in Buffalo this week. The reason I found it interesting is I saw and read a story. They just played in LA, SoFi Stadium, which, Cardi, do you have your phone? Can you do some quick calculations or work out the difference? So it was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius?
Hang on, you'll need to fill for a second. I'll give you.
So I'll give you the idea. It was 55 degrees Fahrenheit in SoFi Stadium, and indoor, relative, like 95% indoor.
4.7 degrees Celsius.
So not warm. And the Dolphins had gas heaters. They had heaters on the sidelines and in the benches. Yeah. So
good luck going to Buffalo, boys.
And then they're going to Buffalo, 7 inches of snow, and it's expected to get to as high as 38 degrees, which I believe that's nearly
3 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. So how are they going to go? They struggled a little bit. The Chargers, Faf's Chargers, got a hold of them, and how are they going to go when 7 or 8 degrees Celsius worse? Danny, what are you?
So that was Tua's worst game so far this year. Was playing against the Chargers when he was cold and they had the heaters and all that. That was his worst game this year, but his worst game last year was when they played Tennessee Titans in Nashville, and that was near freezing, wet conditions again. So from that, he went out in the off-season and started training in incredibly cold conditions to try and get his body ready for it. So that's why they're grilling him so much. They've questioned him in the media, being like, "What are you doing to prepare for it?" And he's come out and said, "I'm not too focused, whether it's cold or not, whether I can grab the ball." He's like, "If we go up there and we're playing such a good team, he's like, that's not where my focus needs to be." But the reason he's getting grilled for it is because he played shit in the cold against the Chargers last week, and they lost. And then the last year when they played Tennessee and Nashville was his worst game ever. So he has a really bad track record of playing in the cold. And that's probably why they had the heaters on the side of the bench. And like obviously coming from Miami and then going up to Buffalo, like there's going to be a huge discrepancy in the weather anyway. So if they're preparing for, what did you say, 7 centimeters of snow, I think Miami's going to be relatively worried, and the media's clocked onto it. So they're fully on board whether he's going to be playing well or not.
It's an easy story to write, isn't it? It pretty much writes itself.
It does. We just wrote it. So.
Yeah, we are the media.
I don't know, Danny, you're not much of a football player, but maybe some basketball back in the day. But Carts, going from that, 12 to 15 degrees down to the 2 to 3 degrees, I reckon it makes a big difference.
Well, fucking oath it does. You can say that it doesn't, it's, weather's not a factor as much as you want. The back of your mind, if it's fucking raining sideways and 5 degrees, you're in for a shit day. So it 100% is a factor.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, someone's given Danny a quick phone call. Make sure you say hello from the Any Given Sunday fan, mate. That'd be good.
Come on.
Yeah. We are going to go through. We've picked a couple of games to go through because we didn't go through them on Tuesday. Now, Danny, you've done all of the research. I watched the games, but just kind of cast my eye across all of them. And Cardi was flying in, flying out from, Hawaii or Tahiti or wherever he bloody jet sets off to
Bora
these
Bora.
days.
Busy man with many business meetings.
Bora Bora. Oh, how was Bora Bora, mate?
I can't even remember. That's so far down the list.
That's so long ago.
What do you want to do here? Do you want me to? I'll run through the scores and Danny can jump in on the games that he wants to chat about.
Sure, mate. Sounds good. I'll just go have a nap in the corner.
No, you can chime in with your little pearls of wisdom too. So back to Friday, we had my boys, the Raiders, absolutely stink it up and lose it right at the death to the Rams, 16-17. I think, Danny, you wanted to have a little chat about it.
So we spoke about this a lot with Baker Mayfield coming in, whether he was going to play or not. We decided last week that he wasn't going to play because it was too close. So he comes out, shocks us, plays anyway. He scores 14 in the last 4 minutes to win. That is, he didn't start that well, but man, did he play into form. And that is quite an embarrassing loss to the Raiders to have a quarterback that's just been dropped, probably should be a second string quarterback, came in as the replacement for Stafford, and then got 14 in the last 4 minutes to win the game. It was quite an impressive last couple of drives.
He'd been in LA for less than 48 hours, I believe, before
42 hours from touchdown to playing.
Yeah, and they snapped.
You get almost 43 from touchdown to touchdown, you might say.
They snapped a 6-game losing streak, which was the longest by any Super Bowl winner from the previous year. And that's the Raiders' fourth loss after leading by more than 13, which is quite poor form.
It's a shocking record to hold.
I do believe, I don't want to say you were wrong because I didn't see this game. I was following on my phone as I was playing some golf down the local establishment. Was it Johnny Worsfold or whatever the bloke's name? Didn't he start and then he got injured and then Baker
you're
came
right.
in?
Baker didn't start, but he was on pretty early.
Yeah, first couple of drives, I think. So
yeah. And I was lucky enough. I watched the final 2 minutes back where Baker took it down the length of the field, and the two penalties that the Raiders gave away at the end killed us, obviously, but doesn't matter. Baker won in the game, so
yeah, absolutely.
Just bad from the Raiders all around there. So moving on into the Sunday night games. The Jets went down to the Bills 12-20. The Bengals, who are just going along very nicely at the moment, took care of the Browns 23-10. The little Ohio Bowl there. The Cowboys had a bit of a scare against the Texans, 27-23. I think they had one of the biggest lines for the year so far for this game, the Cowboys. But the Texans managed to stay with them, and I think we're even leading maybe late, or not late, but in the last. And so the Cowboys sort of got away with one there, 27-23.
Yeah, there was a crazy interception. Teron Smith intercepted right. It was I think the Dallas's 4-yard line, but. Yeah. And that was when they were up 3 with 5 minutes 47 to go. So you get that interception, you got 4 yards, you think you're in. But Dallas managed to actually stop them when they were 4th and goal, and then went back up the other end to score. So super lucky. It kind of looked like Houston was in control for the majority of this game as well. Pretty good win in the end. And it was a much more exciting game than most people thought. The line was 16.5. So for the fact that they only got up by 3 or so in the end?
4.
Yeah.
4 points.
It's huge. And the game was actually quite more entertaining watch than most people thought, because Dallas ended up going and having a 98-yard drive on that final play to get that touchdown.
yeah, like a lot of people would have just expected, oh, this is a stinker. Don't even worry about this game. So it would have surprised a fair few people. Next up, we had the much improved Lions, who I think are on a 5-game run, maybe
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6. Yeah, they took care of division rivals and division leaders, the Vikings, 34-23. MCDC got the boys flying up there in Detroit. Next up, again, another surprise, the Jags took care of the Titans 36-22. They've had a couple of games like this now, the Jags, where they've sort of definitely gone against what all the bookmakers and probably what a lot of the punters were thinking. And yeah, they're taking a bit of a scalp there.
I reckon this is a bit of almost like he's had a couple of games already, but this is a come-out game, I think, for Trevor Lawrence, just to show that, you know, he can play against the best. Like the Titans' defense is not a shit defense. Their offense seems to be, if Derrick Henry doesn't go, then they struggle. But I believe Derrick Henry had, you know, over 100 yards in the first half, and then only 2 or 3 in the second. So
he had 98 for the first half, and then 2 for the second half took him over the 100. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's like I think just to come out and it doesn't matter. Either way, he had a big first half and a second half. Yeah, because I'm just looking at it was 14-7 at one point, and then end up being 36-22. Like, huge game for the Jags. Just going forward, they're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, but you know, going forward, that's a big win for them, I reckon.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, you said he had a coming out game. It was actually through for his career high 368 yards and 3 touchdowns, and also ran for a touchdown. So he had an absolutely massive game. It was also the first time the Jags have beat the Titans in Nashville since 2013. They've actually had a shocking record every single time they've gone into Tennessee. So, so massive game. And then I have one more thing to add on that. The Jags actually dominated the second and third. They put up 26 points unanswered, which is pretty crazy. They had 4 sacks and turned 4 turnovers into 20 points. So it wasn't only their defense that was performing, but it was their offense as well.
Yeah, that's spot on, boys. Good win. Good win.
Was Trev a number 1 draft pick, T-Mac?
Trev was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so that obviously comes with added pressure. So
yeah, absolutely. And they say like it was last year he had Urban Meyer. I don't know if you boys were across Urban Meyer last year, but he was shit. he got kicked out halfway during his first season. So a lot of people are saying that he kind of ruined Trevor's rookie season. So like it's just, you almost have to restart again this year. And yeah, so far so good.
Yeah. The next game we had Danny's Birds took care of the Giants 48-22. Probably not much to talk about there. To be expected there, Danny boy. The Giants are on the way down. The Eagles are still absolutely flying.
Yeah, so it's great for Philly, though, because they've clinched their playoff spot with, obviously their massive win. They came out strong, getting touchdowns on their first 3 drives. There was that illegal punt, which would have been a poor drop punt, or if you guys saw it, he actually dropped the ball, hit the ground first before he kicked it and tried to play on. Resulted in a turnover, and then ended up being another score for Philly. Sanders is the first running back with over 1,000 yards on the ground for Philly since 2014. AJ Brown received over 1,000 yards also since 2018. Hurts became the first quarterback in NFL history to rush for at least 10 touchdowns in 2 consecutive seasons. So it was just a game for records for Philly, though, just really going out and flexing every muscle that they got. They're blowing out teams, like I know you say the Giants are on the way down, but the record's not that bad. They're blowing out teams that are like relatively high in their respective divisions. So now it's really looking like it's Super Bowl or bust for the Eagles. And I'm not just saying that as a fan. I really feel like with the way that they've been playing and the way that Hurts has been carrying him, he's getting so much more MVP buzz, like slowly snapping at Mahomes' heels. So if they're not getting into the Super Bowl, I think it really is a wasted year for Philly. So fingers crossed for them, and hopefully they all stay healthy and they continue on this run.
Sorry, just a bit of a technical issue. Danny, can you zoom out a little bit? Your head seems to be a real bit big in that screen. That's a bit better. Yeah, that's much better, mate. Your head just wasn't quite growing every time you speak about the Eagles.
Oh, I thought you were being serious because like my phone
No,
popped up.
that was definitely a jam.
'Cause my-
For those of you playing at home, Danny actually tried to zoom in.
well, because my phone popped up with a notification halfway through that, so I thought, who knows, man? Because I'm having so many technical difficulties today. You're really poking me where I'm weak at the moment.
No, just cool your jets, mate. Super Bowl or bust is a big call early, but I
You're
like
12
it. I love the
12
confidence.
12-1 at this point in the season. It is, I think.
Yeah,
And
who have you really beaten though? You know,
They're going the early crow team, Mac. We're in the week.
yeah, going into week 15.
Yeah.
I've got some Packer stats for you, mate. Don't stress.
Right, next game.
We don't talk about the Packers when they're on a bye week. Get out of here.
We're not. The Ravens took care of the Steelers 16-14. The Chiefs, they got over the top of the Broncos 34-28. Now, the next game I think we might want to touch on, the Bucks. They got rolled by the 49ers 35-7.
Yeah, which
Not a great showing from the Bucks there.
and we spoke about this a lot about Brock Purdy and what he was going to come out and do, how he was going to go as a starter, how he was going to go starting against Brady, who had an immaculate record prior to this. He had a stretch of nearly flawless plays. He threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for another one. He became the first quarterback ever to beat Brady in his first start. The 49ers had 5 touchdowns on their first 7 possessions and were 28-0 at the half, which is crazy. Brady only finished for 34 out of 55, and he threw 2 interceptions. And with those interceptions, Greenlaw, got Tom Brady to actually sign the intercepted football.
I saw this at the end of the game. It was awesome.
So cheeky.
Yeah, but he was just like, out of respect to him, he did say...
It was a fan moment.
Yeah, he was like, he's the greatest of all time. And he's like, I managed to get an interception off him, so of course I'm going to go up to him, ask him to sign the ball. And they said Brady was an absolute great sport for it. And
he was a gentleman about it, yeah.
And he also congratulated Purdy on his first start as well in his post-game interview, which you got to. When you get blown out like that by a starting quarterback, you got to give him everything he deserves. But it just puts the question on whether, like, he's obviously proved that he deserves the starting role, but can he hold on to it and can he help the 49ers in their playoff push?
Well, he can definitely do more than Jimmy G can at the moment, so you're going to keep him there. But I think, like you said, Brady's been around long enough to know that you just got to give props to the kid who played out of his skin. He played pretty well. Like McCaffrey did everything he could as well to help with 119 yards on the ground. But a stat that I don't know exactly when his birthday is. I probably should have looked this up. But Brady's played longer than that bloke's been alive. So he's going to be he's smart enough to know to just say, look, mate, he beat me today. He was a better man. But the Bucks still hold the number 1 spot in the NFC South, who I think everyone's trying their hardest to lose.
It's a very weak division.
So they've only got a 1-game lead over Atlanta and Carolina. So it's not the strongest division this year, that's for sure.
Nope.
No, but it just means the Bucks will likely still limp into the playoffs.
And then you've got to face whoever's got him. Got to face Brady in the playoffs, which is
And anything can happen.
Yeah.
That's it. Different game.
All right, next up we had the Panthers, who we just touched on. They got over the Seahawks in a bit of an upset, I think, 30-24. The Dolphins went down to the Chargers. The Chargers 23, Dolphins 17.
Yeah.
And then
go
ahead, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Just on that was a game that we're talking about, Tua not having his best. But I don't know if you guys saw it. Something that should be touched on. Tyreek Hill got it looked like an impossible recovery from a fumble and ended up having a 57-yard touchdown. If anyone hasn't seen that play, they should go back and watch it. The ball just kind of bubbles out, lands perfectly in his hand, and he runs for 57 yards off a fumble, which is crazy.
I saw that. How quick did he look as he pulled away from him?
He absolutely
He was jogging. Yeah. He was jogging away from him.
Yeah, turned on the Jets at the start and just flew. So as we said before, Tua playing in the cold, worst game. He only completed 10 of his 28 passes and only for 145 yards. And that's the Dolphins' second straight loss.
Our boy doesn't like the cold.
Nope. Confirmed.
Yeah, this week. And our last game, finished off the Week 14 slate. The Patriots got over the top of the cards, 27-13 in the Monday night game. Probably to be expected there.
Yeah, especially after... Well, Kyler started and looked really good, the 3 or 4 plays he did play, but then, really went downhill once he went out.
Yeah.
So, all right, we do have this week's slate of games to go through, but before we get to that,
it's time for questions without notice.
We're going to run through, just like we did last week, just a couple of questions. I'll start off with one, and then we'll get one from both of you, though. So, both, I don't know, I'll spit it out. Both answer both questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
At the same time?
No, definitely not. Who wants to go? Who wants to go first? Who wants to start us off?
Go on, Karts. You can take this on.
Alrighty. So it did come from. You almost stood on my questions without notice, Danny. The question to start with is Purdy a better fit than Jimmy G at the moment? Well, at the moment and going forward.
Oh, it's hard to answer.
That's why.
Maybe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I don't think so. No, like Jimmy knows this offense, knows the system, like has the locker room behind him. If he's healthy, I'm taking Jimmy over Purdy. But Brock is a great stopgap with Jimmy being injured. So like they're not losing because he's so raw and fresh. Like I'm not essentially, but like, he's kind of going to be a bit of a yes man. I'm just going to do what I'm told. This is my job. I'm going to get it done. But I would still take Jimmy if he was healthy.
No.
Well, I think with the way that Brock came out, and especially against the Buccaneers, obviously they haven't been playing the best, but he's still playing against Brady. If he can continue this form throughout the rest of the season, I think 100% definitely there's going to be a question on who takes the starting role, even if Jimmy does come back. Yeah, sorry, it's a random ad. That is 100% a random ad that was bound to happen. Me using this prehistoric laptop. I think we touched on Jimmy's a free agent next year, so it'll be interesting to see what the 49ers actually do, whether they look to re-sign him or whether they like what Brock's going to do for them for the rest of the season. It all depends on where they're going to turn out. So I think with his first showing, him being absolutely impressive would be, I don't know, man. I reckon it could go either way.
I think Jerry Jones said it earlier in the year perfectly with his... you almost want to have a controversial, like a quarterback controversy at the end of the year. If Purdy's playing well and Jimmy's coming back healthy, then that's only good things for the 49ers.
Yeah, it just means people are competing for spots. They're both pushing hard.
Yeah. All right, Danny, you can start us off with the second one because I think this one cuts almost a little bit close to home for Cardi. Not in the way you expect, but what do the Seahawks do with Geno Smith next year? He's coming up for contract. I don't know what his contract is this year, but do they give him the big, $20, $30 million contract, 4 or 5 years? He is 33, so he's getting to that later stage. But because of a trade, I'm not sure quite who it was with, but they have... Oh, actually, the Broncos. I think they've got the number 3 or number 4 pick in the draft, so you can go and get... It's a pretty good draft for quarterbacks this year. Do they bring in a young bloke or do they sign Geno? What do they do?
If I was Seahawks, I'd be signing Geno. You can always bring in a young bloke and have him as your second quarterback, get a few reps under the belt, get them to understand the system, get them to learn off Geno as well. And then obviously you don't have to sign him to a 5-6 year deal. Like you said, he's 33. If you sign him to a smaller deal, if he's happy to do that, get him in there, use your 3rd or 4th pick to pick up another young quarterback and get them in there learning the system. I think 100% you don't want to give up on Geno. Not yet.
Timmy,
my turn?
What are you doing? What are you doing? He's your quarterback.
Pay the man. Pay the man. Sign him up. Pay him. He's proven he knows the system. He can do it at the elite level. He's been a bit of a perennial backup. We're touching on his age. Just sign him to like a 4-5 year deal with like a 4th or 5th year option, whatever. With the draft picks from the Broncos, I reckon don't worry about getting a quarterback. get another weapon, maybe something on the offense, get a pass rusher on the defensive side of the ball, something, whatever's lacking. Use that pick to get another weapon and have a crack. Like the Seahawks have been pretty good this year. Like with Geno starting to fire, they still got DK, a few other weapons still up there. I reckon, yeah, use your pick somewhere else. Get another weapon, either offensive or defensive side of the ball, whatever it may be. Pay Geno, like he's got the locker room behind him. Yeah, I'd be putting my horse behind or in front of him.
He's the card, or is he the horse?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of fucked up the analogy.
You're the card, aren't you?
You know what I mean.
Yeah, no, you kind of ticked off. I had a question. Nice. I did have a question for Danny with the way, but you kind of ticked it off there. If you sign him to a 4-year deal, we'll say that. He's happy. He's got his 110 million or whatever. It's 25 million a year, something like that.
He's earned it.
He's earned it. He's done well. And you go out with the number 4 pick and pick up a QB who's looking good for the future. These days, it doesn't seem to be the done thing to sit behind a QB for 2, 3, 4 years. If you're in the top, especially top 10, they're almost coming out going, I want to be playing. Well, they do. They want to be playing first year, if not first few weeks. So how would you play being Geno and having someone sitting right behind you going, you know what, I'm going to take your spot. Like, it's good to have competition, but at the same time, if you're going to back the man, do you not back the man and get him some weapons?
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
Absolutely. You getting him some weapons and going under the win now mentality would be good. The reason I brought up the quarterback is because you floated the idea in the first place. But
I just wanted to sink you.
But in saying that, that's why quarterbacks normally go to the high draft picks, and normally people who have high draft picks are people who are rebuilding, and they want that new quarterback. So that way the new quarterback can get reps in when there's not too much pressure on the line. So depending on what they actually do, whether they pick up a weapon or a quarterback, obviously he doesn't want to sit behind him for too long. But then if Geno stops performing in a couple of years, they move on from his contract and then put the second string up. That's the only other possibility. Yeah. But thanks for the sinking. Yeah. Love it.
No, you're welcome.
Just the other side of that, what's to say, like you said, if it's a 3rd or 4th draft pick, a pretty high prospect QB, what's to say they're going to want to stick around? Like they don't want to get out of there and go to somewhere else where they might be a starter. If Geno's still absolutely firing and like they're sticking with him, they might not want to do their 3-4 year apprenticeship behind him. Like they might just want to piss off, and so then you've got to trade again. So that's just sort of where.
Either way, if the Seahawks do sign him, then they've got a lot of cards. Like they've got a lot of cards to play with, so they're going to have him, which is great, and their 4th or 5th draft pick. No matter what way they pick, even if it is a QB that they move on from, or it's a weapon, they're going to have more cards to deal with if they do come down to the point where like, all right, this isn't working, we need to trade someone or do something to get something more. So either way, they're looking at a very pretty position, and I think I agree with Carts. It'd be absolutely silly for them not to sign him to at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that they have won the trade with Denver. That's all that matters.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Heavily in their favour.
Let's get into this week's slate of games because some of us fly in, fly out, and need to get onto that plane. How are we gonna run it? We haven't had a 3-way system for the picking games. How are we gonna do this?
Well, let's go. I'll read them out. You boys can keep going head to head. How's that sound?
All right, fine. Am I still picking the line?
Well, no, let's do away with that. It's a bit of.
All right.
We've had some feedback. It's a bit of dead air, and it's a bit of just like hearing T-Mac say random numbers a lot.
Yeah.
I think
but
you're having the most fun with it. But so what we'll do, I'll just read out the game, the line, and then we'll take it in turns picking.
We're still picking out the line, though, aren't we? Yeah.
Still picking out the line. Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, so our Friday game, Thursday night football in America. We've got the 49ers up against the Seahawks. Potentially a huge game. Divisional game. The 49ers are 3.5-point favourites in this one.
I'll go first, and I'm going to say that the Packers need the 49ers to win, so I'm giving them all the good juice, and I'm going to back the 49ers.
Yeah, I was writing down as we were talking then. I already wrote the 49ers. I've got absolute faith in Brock's ability to get this done. So it'll be a very interesting game, but hopefully he carries in the momentum that he had last week.
Nice. For what it's worth, I'm going to take the Hawks at +3.5.
Yeah.
So you are in. I've got to add another column here.
Put him in.
Yeah,
We'll get
chuck it
through
in.
quick.
All right.
So we've actually got 3 Sunday games, which are Saturday games over in the States this week. A little mix up because I think college football is like, are they starting to get in the playoffs? So that's sort of winding down a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We're into the
Yeah,
bowl
so
games. We'll probably have a bowl game special next week, just so everyone knows.
Absolutely. So yeah, the Saturday market's opened up a bit. So they're throwing 3 games. The first of which we've got the Colts away to the Vikings. The Vikings are 4.5-point favourites in this one.
So,
Danny, you're up, mate.
yeah, I'm 100% taking the Vikings. They need to bounce back after their loss to the Lions. And the Colts really, since their first game of getting Saturday, they haven't been all that impressive. So I reckon the Vikings can get done by it.
Yeah, they had that new coach bump, and
That was it. So I'm definitely going to take the Vikings. At 4.5, that line seems too small to me. I reckon they'll win by at least a touchdown.
Nice.
Fair enough.
T-Mac?
I am actually going to say that it is finally happening. The Vikings are the shit team that I've said the whole year. Jefferson is a freak. He had 220 yards last week. That's incredible. But I'm going to say the Colts are going to be within 3.5. What goes
like
down must come back up again.
Like a true cheese said, I'm going to take the Vikings.
Yeah, fuck you.
Next game, we've got the Ravens away to the Browns. The Browns are actually 2.5-point favourites in this one.
Mm. Do we know who's starting for the Ravens?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard if Lamar's back or not.
Last I heard, he's still day to day. So, yeah,
he's been day to day for 2 weeks.
Game day decision.
Yeah,
as we said, though, they're not going to rush him.
And then I could be wrong, but I reckon their backup went out as well with a concussion.
Oh no, you're right. He did.
That explains
the
why.
backup. The backup.
Either one you were saying he's like the carbon copy of Lamar.
Correct. Yeah.
What's his name?
Yep. We got Hundley and Huntley. Hundley.
That's right. Which interesting. Like
Hundley will start.
The Bengals are starting to storm home in the AFC North. The Ravens kind of need to keep winning. I think it was your turn,
me.
Macca?
At Cleveland, 3 games under his belt. Does Deshaun Watson finally start pulling his finger out? Nick Chubb. What was the line? How much is it? Sorry, 2.5.
2.5.
Give me the Ravens.
Field goal. Ooh. Danny boy?
I'm going to take the Browns, especially if they're going up against the third string quarterback. Give me the Browns.
I'm going to take the Browns too.
Yeah. And what was it at 2.5? Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the cold-fearing Dolphins away in Buffalo against the Bills. Interesting. The line's only 6.5, so 1 touchdown will get it done here. What do you think, Danny boy?
Just due to Tua's record of playing in the cold, I'm going to take the Bills. I'm assuming they're the 6.5 favourites.
Sorry, 6.5.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Bills to get it done by more than a touchdown. And the Bills playing in the home arena, playing in the cold. I think the Bills will probably be able to get this done.
Nice, Mac Daddy.
I can't see Tua having 2 bad games like that in a row. I reckon the Bills win, but within 6.5.
Okay, I'm taking the Bills as well, please, Daniel.
Locked and loaded.
Beautiful. All right, into our Monday, Sunday American time games. We've got the Falcons away to the Saints. The Saints are 4.5-point favourites in this game.
Yeah, so Desmond Ritter's first start. Saints have still got a real good defense, so Saints will get the job done.
Danny boy,
I'm going to swear. I'm going to take the Falcons. Let's see. Let's see how this new quarterback goes.
Interesting. I'm going with the Saints. Home team.
Saints. Who was the?
I haven't liked the Falcons all year, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a real shit game, isn't it?
I also want the Saints to lose because it's Philly's draft pick, so it's like there's a little bit in that as well.
Yeah, you got your bird boy hat on. Next game actually could be a bit of a cracker. We've got the Lions away to the Jets. This is just a 0.5 of a point advantage to the Jets in this one. 0.5 point favourites, the Jets at home to the Lions. Lions who are firing.
Oh, that is... Lions are firing. Jets are also doing better than most people expected. That is a really tough one. It's in New York.
In New York, yep.
I'm going to take the home team, but regretfully.
Yeah, it's like an that's a regret. Mike White has been playing well, but copped an absolute blasting last week. I think he went off with broken ribs and had to come back and play.
Lost twice.
Yeah, so huge by him. I like Mike White, but mate,
Huge game. He came back, but
me and Cardi have been bullish on the MCDC Lions since the start, and I'm going to back them here.
I'm taking the Lions too, baby.
Always good to have a swerves.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, huge line here. The Kansas City Chiefs away to the Texans. 14.5-point favourites, the Chiefs here. Yeah, T-Mac.
Texans looked good last week. They did.
They did. At home.
In Houston now, yeah. So
yeah.
I reckon Mahomes is a different beast to the Cowboys, though. So I'm going to say that they will get it. Out 14.5, so over 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a lot of points. Nah, give me the Texans.
Nice. Danny?
Oh, I was leaning towards the Texans until T-Mac picked it. So no, give me the Chiefs.
He loves a swerve.
I do love a swerve. It keeps things entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to go with the Texans on this one. I think they'll cover.
Yeah, 14.5 is a massive line.
So many
a lot of
points.
Like the Chiefs, they're so dynamic on offense and they can score so heavily. But I just think, the last couple of weeks, the Texans have just tightened things up a little bit.
The Texans' defense against and Cowboys was much better than what it has been. So hopefully Mahomes can just do Mahomes things and get it done for my sake.
Yeah. They'll definitely fucking lose the game. Don't get me wrong, but
they're not winning. They are not winning the game.
All right, next up we've got Danny's Birds again. Oh, sorry, that was Brendo's Kansas City Chiefs. I've been
yes, well done. He's been
Brendo's Chiefs, everybody. Brendo's. The Danny's Birds against the Bears. Bears are at home, but the Birds are 9.5-point favourites in this one.
Ooh, it's me, isn't it? Or no?
This is Daniel. This is Daniel's turn.
Do I need to answer?
It's going to be cold. -1 I've got written on this thing here, but
okay.
In
the city.
In the Vindy, it's tougher than like 9.5's a lot of points, but they're so good. I'm gonna have to go the Eagles as well. They're fucking good.
I'm on the Birds too. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Birds for 3.
Birds for 3. Is that our first 3?
Well done.
Yeah.
No, I reckon we've had a couple.
No,
possibly. Oh no, Danny can tell me.
Yeah, no, that is our first 3. But no, nice paying attention, T-Mac. Nice paying attention.
Nah.
We have got next up, the Steelers are travelling to Carolina, taking on the Panthers. The Panthers are 2.5-point favies in this one. T-Mac, it is actually your turn this time.
In Carolina.
In Carolina.
Go the Panthers.
Daniel?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Panthers for this one as well. 2.5.
I'm a swerve. I'm going to take the Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin, he's got to get that winning season.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I was like, he's getting close to losing that winning record.
I will take the Bergs. Thank you very much. The Dallas Cowboys are on the way to Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars. The Cowboys are 4.5-point favourites.
I reckon Jags don't get that win last week. This line's a lot bigger. So,
yeah. Danny, your turn, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys because they didn't perform as well as they probably should have last week. So I think they're going to come out hungry. The Jags haven't really proven that they've got a heap of consistency yet, but they are definitely on the up. So that small line does make sense, especially after last week. But yeah, give me the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Last time Cowboys were disappointing. They lost to the Packers. Next week, 33-0 to the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm on the Cowboys as well.
They love a bounce back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm taking the Cowboys too.
Ooh,
thank you very much.
Talk you into
it. Next game, we've got the Little Birds, the Cardinals taking on the Broncos. Broncos are at
another
home.
shit game.
And the Broncos are 2.5-point favourites.
The Broncos are favourites?
Yeah.
Whose is it?
2.5 points.
Mate?
T-Mac.
Go the Birds. Colt McCoy will be better than Russell Wilson.
Oh, Danny?
Yeah, give me the Cards as well. I don't like picking the Broncos for anything.
I have poo-pooed the Broncos all year, but I'm going to take him in this game.
Yeah.
Field goal to win it. Russ is going to do fuck all. Field goal to win it.
Yeah.
The Patriots are in for a bit of trouble. They're traveling to Sin City to take on my boys, the Raiders, and we are 0.5 point favourites. The Raiders are.
Pick 'em game.
I'm going to take the Raiders.
Are you going first this time, Cards, are you?
Shocker. Absolute shocker.
Yeah. Danny, I think you're up.
Yeah, with the Raiders going down to the Rams, the struggling Rams, they should also come out hungry, but they have not been playing well whatsoever. But yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders just in faith that they do win.
I think the Pats had a great second half and they're going to keep rolling. So on the Pats.
Little swerve. Maxie's Bagels traveling down to Florida. They're taking on Tom Brady and the Bucks. The Bagels are 3.5 point favourites.
You can't not back the Bagels, can you?
Nice. Danny?
Yeah, I'm on the Bengals as well.
I'll take a bagel too. Salmon, cream cheese.
20 and sunny down there, buddy.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
The Giants, who, as we said, sliding a bit, traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders, who are going pretty well. I think I heard a stat during the week they're like over 70% chance of making playoffs.
75.
But 75, there you go. So, yeah, the Commanders are 4.5 point favourites at home to the Giants. Danny, who you got?
Sorry, can you hear me the line again? I was stuck on the fact that you said over 70 and then Timo correct you by saying 75. I'm like, quick maths.
No, I confirmed.
75% is more than 70. That's right, yeah.
1, 2.
Good boy, Danny. The line is 4.5 points to the Commanders. 4.5 points to Commanders favourites.
Whew. The Commanders did beat my Eagles, so I'm gonna have to take them just on that alone.
Sound logic, Timo?
The Commanders have had 2 weeks to prepare for this after they drew 2 weeks ago, so I'm agreeing with the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm on the Commanders too.
Yeah. We've missed a game, though. Titans-Chargers.
The week off. Did we? I don't have that on my list.
If you're on sports, man, they skip one every week. They just decide not to do one of them.
Just cause.
Yeah.
So the Titans-Chargers, we don't have a line, but it is at SoFi. I'm going to give you a line of a couple of half.
Chargers.
Yeah. Is it my pick? No, it's my pick, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. I really like Faf, so I'm going to back the Chargers.
What line did you give us?
2.5.
Oh, okay, pick them. Danny?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers as well. I think what they did this week was impressive.
Yeah.
I think the
Urban
Titans and Drew Henry are going to bounce back. I'll take the Titans.
They're on the way down. You're an idiot.
Rounding out our Week 15 slate, bit of a nothing game. The Rams taking on the Packers up in Green Bay. Green Bay, 6.5 point favourites.
Yeah, that is a big line. That is a huge line. It is. You were making a joke. It is a bit of a nothing game, but I don't care.
Is
mathematically we can still make it.
Is Baker Mayfield starting?
Correct. Confirm starting.
Give me the Rams just so I can go against T-Mac.
Woo! I'm going to take the Cheeseheads as much as I love the
Yes. Mwah, mwah. Fromage to the boys.
That rounds out Week 15,
I
lads.
haven't picked yet.
Obviously.
Please.
I got some stats, so it's going to be, according to this, it'll be -4. Shush.
I don't have time for that.
Shush. It'll be -4. Aaron Rodgers loves it when it's cold. He'll be full turtleneck and long sleeve. He loves it. So 6.5 is at least half of the line that we require.
He does look cool as fuck in that turtleneck, though.
Yeah. So as long as the 49ers beat the Seahawks, we're a 45% chance of making the playoffs. So we need to win out. As long as we win out. So go to boys.
I reckon the Packers probably do have this, and they probably should win. But 6.5, who knows? It's really hard to bet on the Packers this year. They are inconsistent at best.
Correct.
Yeah, bloody hell.
We are the best, exactly. Thank you.
And speaking of,
all right, so Danny, sorry, go.
Speaking of
before I round us off.
Speaking of the Fromage fan, before we do get rounded off, we've got to give congratulations to the biggest cheese eaters. France getting through to the finals of the World Cup, so it's going to be France, Argentina. They're the biggest cheese eaters in the world. So the Fromage fan will be very happy with that.
Oui.
Yes, and thank you to Betar. I picked France in the $101 stakes, so I'm still up for a cheeky $1,000. Yes.
Tina, cover yourself.
Yeah. Very fun.
You can't lose. You can't lose.
I can. I don't have money to load up, though. I'm waiting for the endorsements to roll in. Actually, speaking of endorsements rolling in, we'll load up on the same game multi that I have now, and then we'll load up on the next game.
Billy Boots.
So tomorrow I've picked again. Find us on Dabble, Any Given Sunday Australia, I believe. Danny, you can confirm that later.
Yep.
That is correct. You can just go in there, copy our bet, make some coin with us. I just kept it nice and simple because I just wasn't quite sure how this is going to go. But Brendan Ayuk, 40-plus receiving yards. DK Metcalf, 50-plus receiving yards. Kenneth Walker the third, not the second. I want the third. He's going to have 35 rushing yards, and the 49ers are going to win. It is giving us $4.60. So just a nice little bit of juice just to start your weekend off. Like Cart said, we've got some Saturday, Sunday, Australia time games just to fill our boots and make some more coin.
And we're doing really well. I'm pretty sure last week we tipped one leg out of the 7. And the week before, we got everything but one leg. So it's good. It's like just going opposite.
So we're due to lose by 1.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That sounds juicy without being silly. I like it.
That's it. It just keeps you involved for the whole game. You're involved for the whole game as long as they don't get blown away, the 49ers. But, yeah.
You get around that.
Yeah. No, nice. And you will. You will get around us.
No, I will.
Nice. All right. We have timed this to absolute perfection. So I will say, as we always do, if you enjoyed the podcast with the three of us, which I believe has been the most popular of the podcasts that we have done on YouTube, the three of us together. So very well received. Tell your friends, your family, and your fromage person. Oh, Danny's gone. Say, Danny. He's done it again. Bye, Danny.
I'm the one that's got to get going, and he's just like,
I am gone. I'm gone. He'll make sure he's telling people to leave 5-star review.
He's trying to tell the neighbours.
That's it. He's yelling out his window now. He lives right next door. He shares a wall with them, so he's just knocking on the wall. But also, set a little reminder to tell you when we're out. Find us on all the socials. AGS AU Podcast. Danny Webb AGS as well on Twitter. Instagram. What's your Twitter? Do you have Twitter?
I'll get it for you next week.
Tim Cardi 90 or Cardi 93 or something, isn't it? Anyway,
I'm going to change it to AGS.
Yes, you will. Instagram's anygivensunday.au, TikTok, Facebook, Dabble, YouTube, Any Given Sunday Australia. Go the Packers.
We're there. If you'll find us, go on the Raiders.
And go the Birds. Thanks, Danny. Well done, mate. Go the Birds. See you, mate.
See you, buddy. See you, fam.